I'm sending this message out not to Democrats, not to independents, not to Republicans. I'm sending this message out to the people. In this particular instance, it's the people of California, and in particular, the Bakersfield area. But the message is relevant to every single person in California, and actually every single person in America. If these elected officials are not doing what they want, let me back that up. If these officials are not doing what we want, we need to move them. Now, I don't care if it's a Democrat, I don't care if it's an independent, I don't care if it's a Republican. But if they are not performing their duties via the will of the people that vote for them, then their asses need to be replaced, plain and simple. Now, I came across this story this morning on Morning Joe, and it made me stop what I was doing, go get my camera, to do this particular story. Now I'm going to give you the story and then I'm going to make my commentary. Here we go.
Wolverines do not provoke the Wolverine, except in this case it was not an animal in a county zoo, but rather the warning had to do with the President of the United States. Tell us about it.
That's right. With that story, joining us now 3,000 miles away from home base Los Angeles bureau chief for the New York Times, the great Adam Nagurny. His latest piece in the paper focuses on the House Majority Leader, Republican Kevin McCarthy, who represents California. Adam writes this: in an interview last week, Mr. McCarthy left no doubt that his loyalties in this fight between California and Washington were east of the Mississippi River. He assailed California's Democratic leaders for provoking the president and warned that it could prove damaging to the state, particularly as the Trump administration created an infrastructure program to pay for public works projects across the nation. Look, I will respect my district and I represent my state, Mr. McCarthy said in his first floor suite of offices between votes. But what they are doing, they are playing with fire. Talking about the Democrats, Donald Trump is not going out in any way or form to attack California. They, the Democrats, are the ones who are attacking California right now. They are the ones who are putting Californians at risk in every shape and form. And they are doing it to make a political point, which is wrong. So, Adam, Kevin McCarthy is in a tough position. He's a Republican in leadership representing California. Is he, in your interview, sending a signal to the Democrats? What is his posture towards how he'd like to represent his state, given his allegiance to the administration?
I think one thing to keep in mind is that he's very safe. His district is very Republican and voted, 60% for Trump.
So it's a red area within a very blue state.
Right. It's a small red island and probably the bluest state in the country.
All right, let me just give you some information on that. Okay. Kevin McCarthy is the House of Representative member out of Bakersfield. Now, as far as being safe, yeah, the only reason that he is safe is because the people in that area who oppose him are not mobilized. Bakersfield's ethnicity is basically 50.6% white, 5.9% black, 4.5% Asian, 35.5% Hispanic, and 3.5% other. So yes, there is a slight majority of white people living in the area. But with that being said, if Mr. McCarthy is siding against California and for Donald Trump, then not just the minorities living in the area, but the white people as well should realize that this guy is not performing in their best interests. Okay? California obviously is, as this gentleman stated, a hugely blue state, and in areas like Bakersfield, Orange County, San Diego, you have some pockets of major Republican power, okay? But at the same time, if you noticed, there are a lot of people that are ticked off about Donald Trump, his policies, his not draining the swamp, but enlarging the swamp with all these Goldman Sachs people, all these billionaires. So he's not doing what he claims he was going to do. And for this guy to give his undying support to Donald Trump in opposition to the will of the people of California and hopefully within his district is bullshit. Now, I'm going to drop down a picture of exactly where he is so that you can get an indication. And bear with me because this is going to be a little hooky. Okay. The California 23rd Congressional District since 2013, and as you can see the picture on the left, Bakersfield, which is a fairly significant area. Okay, so yes, would it be a heavy lift in order to do something with this guy? I absolutely acknowledge that. But folks, it's time for us to start exercising our muscles in order to strengthen ourselves, in order to make heavy lifts like this. If Kevin McCarthy believes that the people of California are wrong in their opposition to Donald Trump, then maybe he needs to change physical locations to someplace like Alabama or Mississippi or even Arizona in order to properly represent the people that elect him, i.e. Be aligned with their views. But even in places like Arizona, people are rising up against Donald Trump. So Democrats, you need to grow a pair. You need to not be afraid to go in with legitimate candidates to challenge some of these Republicans that are quote unquote in safe seats, because you can't win a fight unless you get into the ring.
But I think that he is sort of making clear that if there's going to be a fight between Democrats in California and his friend, the president, he is siding with the president. And he is also saying that there's a lot of risk. For people like Jerry Brown, Kevin De Leon, who's the president of the Senate, if they continue to attack Trump, threaten to take him to court. And I think he's made pretty clear which side he will take. I wonder if there's a strategic element as well, if he's thinking that far ahead, which is that if Trump begins to do things to sort of, I don't want to use the word punish, but punish California, cut off funds,
Not give him a big piece of the infrastructure.
That's the best example there is, right? Like that's right, that he won't take as much of the blame. Strategic politicians will be thinking that way.
Joe, you know Kevin McCarthy well. How do you think he's positioned now as the most powerful Republican in a Republican city from the biggest, most powerful state?
Yeah, I know Kevin well. I also know politics very well. And presidents punish, presidents will punish certain legislators. They will punish certain states. I mean, look at LBJ Ford. I think what shocks me is just, again, not only with this warning, but also everything that's happened over the past 3 or 4 weeks, the crudeness of everything that is done in the name of Trump, the crudeness in attacking the media. It's not just enough to call them biased or fake. You have to say they're the enemy. The crudeness in attacking federal judges. It's not enough to say the Ninth Circuit is liberal and out of touch with America. You have to question a judge's legitimacy. And here you have Kevin McCarthy, the majority leader, trying to chill dissent in California. Some things are best left unsaid. This is nothing new in Washington. What's new is the crude warnings.
Adam, what is McCarthy? What is the basis of McCarthy's relationship to the administration?
He was one of the first people to endorse Trump and support him. He defended him, as I recall, after the groping incident or the videotape incident. He's been very close to him, and at a time when Paul Ryan was not endorsing him, he did endorse him. I think the other point I would make towards what Joe just said is what the Democrats of California have done, they've not really attacked there's a sort of disproportionality here. They haven't attacked Trump personally. Some of them clearly have, but they're saying, if you come after us on health Obamacare/ACA, if you try to penalize quote unquote sanctuary cities, we're going to fight back. They're not like saying that he's not a legitimate president.
In such a blue state, big blue state, increasingly blue state, McCarthy though is secure, right? In his district, he's a very safe.
I guess we should never say. I've learned never to say that, but if you look at the demographics of that district, and people really like him there, right? It's a very red district, and I think the Democrats, as I recall, they've targeted him in the past. They're Republican members of Congress. They're going to be targeting in 2018. I don't think Kevin McCarthy will be on that list.
Yeah, well, hopefully you're wrong, and hopefully Kevin McCarthy is one of the guys that they target. Liking him is one thing. Him being ineffective is thing number two. And if there is an infrastructure bill and California doesn't get its fair share, particularly given the amount of federal dollars that we send to Washington versus the amount of federal dollars that we get back, that should be enough to rally the troops against Mr. McCarthy and get somebody in there that obviously, number one, is going to push back against Donald Trump, and number two, make sure that California gets its fair share of any federal dollars that are flowing out of Washington, especially since California will never get its fair share based on the dollars that it contributes to Washington. But folks, this is just an example of what needs to be done over the next 2 years. You need to get out there and push back on these guys and let them know that if they can't handle their business, if they can't actually call balls and strikes properly, that you're going to get another umpire in there that is going to be able to call balls and strikes the way that things actually are, and stop drinking the goddamn Donald Trump Kool-Aid.